In the quiet embrace of a small town, nestled under the shadow of towering pines, stood a house that held within its walls a secret darker than the woods at midnight. This house, with its weathered facade and creaking bones, became the reluctant sanctuary for Sarah and her 3 children, Ethan, Lily, and Mia. A fresh start, Sarah had hoped, away from the suffocating memories of a marriage that had crumbled under the weight of deceit and betrayal. Sarah is a portrait of resilience, a woman in her mid-30s with a strength that belies her gentle appearance. Her hair, once a vibrant chestnut, now carries streaks of silver, testament to the trials she's endured. Her eyes, a deep green, reflect a soul that has seen too much yet refuses to be dimmed. Tall and slender, Sarah moves with a grace that masks her inner turmoil, a visible sign of her determination to provide stability for her children. Her face, framed by soft curls, often wears a smile, a beacon of hope in their uncertain world. Despite the scars of her past, she exudes a warmth and compassion that endear her to those around her, a pillar of strength for her family. The house, with its peculiar charm and sprawling rooms, seemed like a haven from their past troubles. Yet, as they settled into their new lives, an unsettling presence began to weave itself into the fabric of their daily existence. It started with noises, a series of inexplicable sounds that crept from the attic in the dead of night. Footsteps that echoed in the absence of feet, creaks that whispered secrets to the silence, and rustles that danced in the darkness. Sometimes, Sarah could swear she heard a voice, a murmuring so faint it was like the sigh of the wind. Initially, she tried to dismiss these disturbances as the house settling into its foundations or the playful tricks of her imagination. But the sounds persisted, growing in frequency and intensity, as if something, or someone, was trying to communicate with them. One evening, driven by a mixture of fear and determination, Sarah and Ethan ventured into the attic. They searched amidst the dust and shadows, but found nothing except the heavy air of abandonment. Yet, the noises continued, night after night, a symphony of unseen movements and whispered words that seemed to grow more desperate with each passing day. In a bid for peace, Sarah invited a priest to bless their home. He moved through the rooms with solemn grace, his prayers casting light into the dark corners of their lives. For a time, the house seemed quieter, the oppressive atmosphere lifting slightly. But the respite was brief. The disturbances evolved, manifesting in more tangible ways. Objects moved of their own accord, doors slammed shut without warning, and one night, the intensity of the unseen presence shook the very foundations of the house, causing whitewash to rain down from the ceiling like a silent scream. Desperation clawing at her sanity, Sarah called the police. A young officer arrived, skepticism etched into his features. Together, they searched the house, their movements stirring the dust of forgotten corners. It was only by chance, a mere accident, that they discovered the truth. Behind an innocuous box in the attic, they found him, Sarah's ex-husband, Mark. The expression on his face expressed a chilling calm, and his smile didn't match the madness of his actions. The smile was not joyful or warm, but a distorted grimace that said a lot about his fractured psyche. His eyes, once perhaps a soft brown, now glittered with a disturbing intensity, reflecting the chaos of his mind. A smile did not reach those eyes. Instead, it hung on his lips like a mask, a grotesque mimicry of happiness in a situation far from any semblance of normality. His unshaven and gaunt face bore the marks of self-isolation, but his smile seemed almost out of place, a stark contrast to the squalor around him. It was as if in that moment he had detached himself from the reality of his circumstances, finding some perverse satisfaction in the shock and horror he had instilled in his family. His smile was wide, too wide, stretched across his face, exposing gaunt and stained teeth, a physical manifestation of his inner decay. The skin around his eyes was creased, not from laughter, but from the strain of constant vigilance, from nights spent watching, waiting, and plotting. The pallor of his skin, illuminated by the meteor light that penetrated the attic, gave him an almost ghostly appearance, reinforcing the eerie disparity between the expression on his face and the seriousness of the situation. He sat surrounded by the wreckage of his existence, a video game console to pass the hours, family photos that fueled his delusions, garbage bags filled with the remains of his food, and bottles that testified to his descent into madness. The hole through which he watched Sarah whisper venomous words of love and hate was his connection to the world he refused to leave. His presence, a malevolent ghost in the machine of their lives, was a source of turmoil, a manifestation of his inability to come to terms with the dissolution of their marriage. By profession, Mark was a door installer, a detail that had now become a cruel irony. He installed the very doors he would later use as a gateway into their lives, turning the house into a prison of his own making. His arrest for petty theft and home invasion was the final straw that destroyed their marriage, but he was unwilling to let them go, preferring to stalk them from the shadows. The discovery shook Sarah to her core. The house, once a symbol of hope, had become a stage for a psychological horror that transcended the boundaries of reason. Mark's removal by the authorities brought little comfort, for the echoes of his presence lingered in the silent rooms and empty hallways. In the aftermath, Sarah and her children struggled to reclaim their sense of safety and normalcy. The house, with its secrets laid bare, felt tainted by the memories of what had transpired. Yet, in the face of this darkness, Sarah found a reservoir of strength within herself. She realized that the true foundation of their new beginning lay not in the walls that surrounded them, but in the bond that held them together as a family. As they moved forward, the shadows of the past receded, leaving behind a story of resilience and rebirth. The house, once a harbinger of fear, became a testament to their survival, a reminder that even in the deepest night, the dawn is never too far away. And though the scars of their ordeal remain, they served as a stark reminder that sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are the ones that wear human faces. That'll be all. Thanks for watching or listening. I hope to see you in my other videos as well. Don't forget to comment. See you soon.